What's good, everyone? Welcome to the channel. If you're new to it, my name's Jake. Glad to have you here. And we're going to carry on walking through my cube. Now, this is a vintage legal cube. It doesn't have any power in it, but there are some cards in here that are banned in Legacy, thus making it vintage. I've put this cube together about, I think it was like 5 or maybe even 6 or 7 years ago now, somewhere around there. And what I did was I just started with cards I had in my collection. I didn't go out and buy any cards for right away, at least. I just started with what I had in my collection, and it wasn't super powerful, but it was a great way for me to kind of use cards that I wouldn't otherwise use, maybe in decks or in other, casual play or whatever. So my point is, cubes are a great way to create a repeatable and super fun limited experience that can be powered at the level you want it to be powered at. And you get to just play with your cards. You get to build the cube. It becomes like it's a little project that you get to work on. So that's one of the things I love about Magic, is kind of just like, working with the cards, playing with the cards. So if you don't have a cube and you have any interest in it, or if you don't have any interest in it, maybe just, give it a shot, give it a whirl, see what you think. But we're gonna go through blue today, my blue cards. I think there's around 60 of them or so I won't spend a ton of time talking about each one. It's a 450 cube, and I'll just go through and kind of talk about what's in here. So Artificer's Assistant kind of speaks for itself. It's a 1-drop. It's has some evasion in that it's flying, and the added ability of whenever you cast a historic spell, you get to scry one, I think is pretty nice. There's lots of artifacts and legendaries in my cube, so I think you'll get to trigger the scry effect quite a bit, which I think is a pretty good ability. Delver of Secrets, I don't think that really needs an explanation. You'll notice here there's a little writing, MVL. When I first started to put together the cube, it was right around this time, around Innistrad. I didn't have a Delver, and my buddy was like, you know what, you should definitely have Delver in in your cube. I was like, you're right. So he gave me this Delver, and he just gave it to me, and in return I just put his initials on here, MVL. Much appreciated. It's still in here, man. I'd replace it with a foil, but then it wouldn't be the card that my buddy gave me. So it's a little shout out to him there. Thing in the Ice, obviously Thing in the Ice, it's such a good card. Snapcaster Mage, again, this kind of speaks for itself. Warkite Marauder, this is a newer edition, obviously it's from the Ixalan block. When it attacks, target creature defending player controls loses all abilities and has base power and toughness 0/1 until end of turn. I don't know, I'm not super attached to this card. I think it's a good flyer, and it's a good 2-drop. But not really super attached to it. So if you have any suggestions on what I could replace Warkite Marauder with, I'm happy to hear. Sigiled Starfish. Oh, the other thing I should note too is that this does not have any Theros Beyond Death in it. I haven't gotten that far to update with Theros Beyond Death, but that is on my list too. I'll probably actually wait until Ikoria comes out. I like to try to update like 2 sets at a time, just because it's a little more time efficient that way. Merfolk Looter kind of speaks for itself. Baral, Chief of Compliance. Now, I do have a Storm theme in my cube, so Baral obviously fits really well into that. Manowar. I mean, Manowar is a limited bomb. It's such a good card. Unfortunately, my cube and really cubes are just one-off, so you can't draft like, 3 or 4 Manowars, which is always kind of the dream in a draft format. Eldrazi Sky Spawner. I do have an Eldrazi theme in my deck, and Eldrazi Sky Spawner is just a really good card, so it kind of fits into that, and it's just a good card. Cloudkin Seer, it's really good. It's a 3-drop. It has the evasion, and you get to draw a card. I'm a big fan of this. I need to get a foil, though. I don't know what I'm doing with just a common non-foil. Vendilion Click. here again, I think it kind of speaks for itself. Brazen Borrowers. This card is also very, very good. I love this card. Murmuring Mystic. This fits into the spells matter theme. I mean, not really Storm. I guess maybe Storm if you have this in play already. But you get to get a 1/1 blue flyer every time you cast an instant or sorcery spell. So that's kind of fun. Thieving Magpie. This is just one of my favorite cards from the Urza block. Back in the day, I played a couple of different decks in the Urza block, but one of them was like a blue control deck, and Thieving Magpie was kind of like, was just a really good card in that deck, and I love it. I love the art. Everything about this card I think is great. It costs 4 and it's only 1/3, but whenever it deals damage to an opponent, you get to draw a card. So this is just kind of like a callback to those days and for the nostalgic purposes. Sphinx of Foresight. This is, I feel like I actually haven't played with this card yet, or against it. But if you get to start with this in your opening hand, scrying 3 at the beginning of your first turn, I feel like is a very good effect, kind of stacking your deck right out of the gates. Urza Lord High Artificer. I mean, pretty good, right? Pretty good. God Eternal Cabinet, also just a very good limited card. So that is why that is in here. Peregrine Drake. I don't know why that's a mouthful right now. But you get to do all sorts of dirty shenanigans with this. This is also just kind of in lieu of the fact that I don't have a Palinchron. So, Fate Stitcher, you again get to do all sorts of potentially broken combo stuff with Fate Stitcher. Crow Storm. This is the only silver bordered card. I think this is the only silver bordered card in my cube. Again, fits into Storm. Pestermite, Twin, Kiki Jiki, yes please. Breaching Hippocamp, same thing for Twin and the Keeks. Yeah, it's just redundancy to Pestermite, so that's why it's in here. It's really not great outside of the combo, but having so if you draft like Kiki Jiki and or Twin, and you don't see someone else like picks up Pestermite or Deceiver Exarch, that's why I included it in here. It's just redundancy, lets you increase the chance of comboing, getting your combo. And then we are into the draw spells. So we have Ponder, Serum Visions, Brainstorm, Git Probe, Preordain, Sleight of Hand, Opt, Think Twice, Frantic Search. Muldrifter is a creature, but come on, it's really a draw spell. Gush, super good. I think this is banned in Pauper now. You may return 2 islands you control to their owner's hand instead of paying its mana cost. So it's a free costing draw 2. Dig Through Time, Treasure Cruise, Epiphany at the Drown Yard. I also don't think I've gotten to actually play with this. Reveal the top X+1 cards of your library and separate them into 2 piles. An opponent chooses one of those piles, put that pile into your hand, the other into your graveyard. I don't know, this is kind of just a fun card. Mystic Tutor, I think speaks for itself. Rapid Hybridization. Oh, blue creature removal. Time Warp. Yes, Time Warp. Part the Water Veil, another turns spell. Nexus of Fate, another turns spell. The Antiquities War. I really like sagas, and I wanted to include them. So here is one. I don't have much else to say about it other than that. Opposition, I think, is a super good card. There is like a tokens theme in the cube, so Opposition obviously goes very well in that. Clone, it's a really good card. There's some pretty bomby creatures in the cube, so being able to copy one for 4 is pretty awesome. Treachery, again, taking those big bomby problematic creatures and then doing it basically for free as long as you have 5 mana. Pretty awesome. Dream Halls, oh man, Dream Halls. Let's take a second. This is a pretty old card, so all of you might not be familiar with it, but it costs 5. Instead of paying the casting cost for a spell of any color, its caster may choose and discard a card that shares at least 1 color with that spell. If that spell has X in its status cost, X is 0. So basically, if I have a Nexus of Fate in my hand, if Dream Halls is in play, and I have a Nexus of Fate in hand, I could just discard Mystical Tutor, play Nexus of Fate for free. You can obviously do all sorts of mana cheaty things with Dream Halls, that's the point. Very, very, very good. Crush of Tentacles. Yeah, I think it's a pretty solid card. Return all 9/9 permanents to their owner's hand. If Crush of Tentacles Surge cost was paid, put an 8/8 blue octopus creature token onto the battlefield. So, yep. Tunnel Vision. Okay, so this is an original include in my cube, and every time I go through and try to update blue, I just can't bring myself to take it out. It costs 6, and you name a card. Target player reveals cards from the top of his or her library until the named card is revealed. If it is, that player puts the rest of the revealed cards into his or her graveyard and puts the named card on top of his or her library. Otherwise, the player shuffles his or her library. So you can just legitimately mill people out with this card. I've seen it happen. It's pretty amazing. It's just a fun card, and I don't know. It's not great. I should probably put something else better in, but I just can't bring myself to do it. Counter Spell, obviously Counter Spell. Remand. Daze, another very good card. Unwind, I really like Unwind. Supreme Will, again, just a counter spell that has some different modality to it. Disallow. Cryptic Command, that player rewards Cryptic Command. Ooh. Force of Will, that Therese Nielsen signature. Oh yeah. Narset Parter of Veils. JTMS, baby. Woo! I should probably put the I have a couple actually Mythic editions. I should probably put the Mythic edition art in here. Jace Unraveler of Secrets. This should probably be a different Jace, but. And then, as Kanta the Sunken Ruins. Now the reason, this is on purpose, the reason I have this flipped instead of starting out with Search for Azcanta, which it could certainly, Search for Azcanta could certainly be in this cube, should probably be in this cube, and it's a very good card. But what I've done is all of these, in Ixalan, each color had a flippy thing that flipped over into a land, and the different lands did, do different things. And so what I've done is I've just auto-flipped them and included the flipped version for each of the colors. It's a very powerful effect, but I don't know. This cube is trying to do pretty powerful things. So that's why that's in there. And those are my blue cards. I actually went the extra mile this time for blue, and of the Theros Beyond Death cards that I've seen so far, these are the ones that I'm considering including. Thassa Deep Dwelling, Thassa's Intervention, Nadir Kraken, and Omen of the Sea. Omen of the Sea would probably be a good swap for that, Warkite Marauder? Warkite Marauder. So I'd probably put this in for Warkite Marauder, or maybe something, I don't know. But I like these cards. Thassa's Intervention, I'm very much on the fence about. I like the modality of it. What I don't like is how expensive it probably ends up being. You're probably paying at least 2 for X. I mean, you have to pay at least 2. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think I don't know. It feels like it might be too expensive, too slow of a card, but these 3 I certainly like and will probably find a way to get into the cube. But yeah, let me know your thoughts, guys. If you have any suggestions, let me know in the comments. What should I take in? Are you seeing any cards in here that, I might think are good, but you have had experience in cubes that are similar and they just end up being duds? Like Jace Unraveler of Secrets, I don't think is great. And any cards that you think I might want to swap and put something else in, let me know. But we will carry on with the breakdown of my cube over the coming weeks, and I hope you enjoy it. And until the next one, my friends, I will see you later. Take care of yourselves. This is our Crow Storm. And I will catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.